Welcome to our virtual tour of Earthworks. My name is Kate, and today I'm delighted to be able to take you on a journey around our site. Usually at this time we will be hosting our open garden event where we invite the public to come and experience a little bit of Earthworks, to experience social inclusion and to learn about sustainability. But that isn't happening this year. So I'm pleased to be able to bring you a little bit of Earthworks while you're all at home. So without further ado, welcome, let's go in. So 25 years ago, this was all wasteland, and Earthworks was started here to give people with learning disabilities the opportunity for purposeful work and creative opportunity, of which there was and is still really little opportunity. But we're standing here on the patio in front of our beautiful eco building, the Warren. And this is where earthworkers and volunteers and staff come and take their breaks on warm sunny days, just like today. It's absolutely beautiful here. And we have a little video to show you how our earthworkers serve a group of walkers who come on a Monday, and where they come and sit out on the patio and have their tea.
What jobs do you do at Earthworks when the walkers come in?
Ballet?
You take the money?
Yeah.
Do you do anything else?
Coffee?
For coffee? And what do you like about the Earthworkers Cafe for the walkers?
I like to come here, help other people.
You like helping?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy cleaning the tables?
Yeah.
Who were you cleaning them for? The coffee?
Yeah.
And who's going to drink the coffee?
Me.
You and...
Yeah, me. Well,
So this is our Warren. It's the beating heart of Earthworks. It's where we make tea, have breaks, we work and we craft together, and we take shelter from the weather on bad days. And we also hold our project group meetings here every quarter, where everyone has a say in the direction Earthworks is taking. It's an eco building. You can see the power generation and the water heating up on the roof. And there's a fireplace inside for heating with wood cut by earthworkers to keep us warm. And there's a little kitchen. And it's a building that everyone just falls in love with. And if I turn around, it looks like this patio has been here forever. But in fact, it's only a couple of years old. And beneath it is a 10,000 litre water tank, which collects runoff rainwater from the roof. Hertfordshire is one of the most water-stressed areas in the UK, so it's very important to conserve water where we are especially. And we have a hand pump which brings up the water from below, which is fantastic for exercise as well as sustainability. I'm standing here in our beautiful ornamental gardens. We've planted flower beds around the patio, which are planted with tall grasses, and verbena will be coming up in a few months, and the idea of that is to act as a see-through screen around the patio, which is absolutely beautiful in the summertime. We have a line of willow trees with their amazing curly branches. You can see underneath, and it's a lovely place to sit. And some flower beds planted in blue and pink. And we have a pond hiding under here, and it's always fun to come and see if you can spy any wildlife in the pond. And then we'll take you on round to the beach garden. Our beach garden was overhauled a few years ago. Earthworkers washed the gravel to get rid of the weed seeds, which was a very popular job. And we've planted it with a nod to the ocean. So we have some orange California poppies over there, which are gorgeous at this time of year, and some blue pansies. And we also have a boat over here. And we even have a sleeping green turtle. This was the site of an installation in 2019 as part of Sustainability Festival, and our volunteer Steve will now appear in a short video with Ben to tell you more about the installation.
We're on Earthworks Beach. It's a lovely day for it and we all enjoy the beach, but we also know that very often lots of our plastic rubbish ends up in the seas and gets washed up on the beach and leads to some distress for animals as well. So here at Earthworks, although we use plastic very sparingly, we're trying to reduce what we use and to make the most of any leftover plastic items to upcycle or reuse those plastic items, so rather than them end up on the beach. So over here we've been working on some items that show how we can reuse plastic rather than just throw it away. Ben, I think you were going to say something about how we reused one of those.
Oh, okay. We used to use some plastic and milk bottles. First one, put some soil in first, and afterwards you put the flowers in, and then start watering it, and it takes you to the beach.
Yeah. So in fact we're going to have quite a lot of these pots, and it shows actually what seems to be rubbish. If we have a range of them laid out, can be quite effective borders and send a message about plastic reuse as well. We've got some other things that are on the go, not only using them as plant pots, but perhaps as bird feeders, and even from the milk cartons to weave baskets for fruit and other things like that. So we're going to display some of these at the St Albans Sustainability Festival when we have the open garden here in May.
We have 33 regular volunteers who are so dedicated and are a really important part of Earthworks. We couldn't do what we do without them. And they and volunteers worked so hard on the next part of the garden, which is our sensory garden, developed last year and was a runner-up in the Cultivation Street competition. And here is Michelle to tell you more about this project.
Hello, my name's Michelle. I'm one of the staff at Earthworks and I'd like to take you for a walk through our sensory garden. The idea for a sensory garden has been talked about for many years, and it was actually raised in one of our project group meetings last year by a couple of Earthworkers who said they wanted a nice quiet space to be able to sit away from everybody else, just to enjoy the site and have some peace and some quiet and be with nature. Once we had decided this is the area of site it would be, there was a huge effort pruning, clearing weeds and digging over before we could do any of the fun things. And it took a massive amount of effort by volunteers, Earthworkers and their support workers and staff. It was definitely a huge team effort. Let's take a look at our sensory garden and we can show you what we've done and the things we've made, the plants we've put in to stimulate all 5 of the senses, as we know that everybody experiences things in different ways. I'd like to show you some of the things that our Earthworkers and volunteers have made for the garden. This is a mobile made from old curtain rings and bits of bamboo, and that makes a really, really good sound when it blows in the breeze. We've got a big planter here that we passed earlier when we were looking at the grasses, and that was painted by one of our volunteers. As you can see from the front there, she's done a really, really good job of telling us all about the 5 senses and little pictures. And one of our Earthworkers painted a beautiful bee this end, and then also a ladybird the other end. Just a little bit of fun, and we love ladybirds and bees at Earthworks. This is our big wind chime that we're very proud of. A lot of people worked hard to saw the chimes on here. As you can see, we've also got discs and coffee tins recycled that would have just gone into landfill. and together they do make a really good sound. Some of the tins have got things in them to make more sounds because people do enjoy instruments and percussion. That is very popular. We have tried to recycle as many items as we can in our garden. This is old bits of hose sawn up and threaded, and they move and they're quite nice to touch as well. And these are old propellers from remote controlled helicopters and aeroplanes. We've got another very colourful mobile here that almost looks like a dream catcher, and that's made out of old floppy disks in all colours of the rainbow, and also the top of a chocolate box tin. These are old pastry cutters, and again they make a nice sound and also very tactile. This is an old watering can, as you can see, and we've used more of the streamers, which one of our earthworkers coloured in blue to give the appearance of water, and that looks really nice in the wind too. This arch that you can see at one of the entrances was made by 2 of our volunteers, and it really frames the garden when you walk in like that. They also made this lovely hazel perimeter fence, which is really natural and in keeping, and it makes a really lovely framework for the bay around the edge. Just walking through our willow arch, and straight ahead of me you'll be able to see our totem pole rising above the mound majestically. This was the idea of one of our earthworkers. It's an idea he's had for many years, and last year we were able to make it a reality as part of our project. Creating the totem pole was a big team effort. As you can see, a huge amount of work has gone into it. It's been beautifully painted and designed, and each of the discs that you see on the pole have a picture of wildlife found at Earthworks, either insects, birds, animals or flowers. And at the very top there is a lovely design of the sun, moon and stars in mirror tiles, designed to catch the light, which on a sunny day like this is absolutely perfect. It really is quite a sculpture and a work of art. We chose our plants carefully. This is a choicea, and this produces beautiful fragrant flowers in the spring. We've got rosemary and also a ginger rosemary, which is a little bit more unusual. And in here, one of my favourites, we've got lemon verbena, and that smells amazing if you just rub it between your fingers and then smell. It's so fresh, so appealing. One side of the arch we have a star jasmine, which will grow up there and provide lovely fragrant flowers. And the other side we have a beautiful thornless rose, which, as you can see, is just about to come into flower and will also be very fragrant. That's a Zephyrine Druin, recommended to us by one of our volunteers who certainly knows his roses. Inside the willow arch, one of our earthworkers has done some lovely designs on the wooden posts. You just make out all the different colours. Very original, very interesting. And this one at the end you'd really like, if you're a Star Wars fan especially. Can you make out who they are? We have jasmine growing on the willow arch, which is beautiful fragrance. Then we've got this very healthy looking honeysuckle. What have we got this side? Then we've got this beautiful Stipa tenuissima ponytail grass, and that is so appealing, just to be able to just want to touch it as you walk past. It's lovely. We've got fennel, again very nice to look at, very soft and fluffy, but also smells amazing. We've got lots of grasses that aren't up at the moment, but again the movement of those is really lovely. We have lavender, as no sensory garden would be complete without the beautiful scent of lavender. And verbena, it's a little bit early in the year for verbena, but the bees absolutely go crazy for it later in the year. We've got daisies and marguerite coming up. As you'll see, the outside around the fence is lined with bay, which is beautiful. We've also got herbs. And here we've got the Stachys byzantine, which is some people call lamb's ears, and that is beautiful to the touch, really nice. These boulders that you can see were rescued from someone's garden who was having a big clear out by one of our volunteers, and nothing goes to waste here. So we have got a lot of little alpine plants planted amongst those, which are a little bit difficult to see at the moment. Just ahead of us you'll see a wooden seat. That was the idea of one of our earthworkers. She said, can we have a seat in the mound? And the mound is just behind there. It's a little bit overgrown at the moment, but providing a lovely haven for our bees and for wildlife. But it was a really good idea, very popular, and one of our volunteers used old sleepers and made this seat along with earthworkers, and another earthworker painted those beautiful flowers along the base that you can see. This is our picnic area. It's a lovely, peaceful, shady place to sit, just to listen to the birds. As you can see, our table is covered in leaves at the moment, but on the top here we've got some fake grass, which actually is very nice if you want to feel it and touch it, and for some people that is a really nice sensory experience. We've also got a big blackboard there for anyone wanting to draw things or be creative and express themselves while they're having their lunch. On these two trees here, you'll see we've got some streamers hanging down. Now these are actually recycled umbrella bags, so excessive packaging, but we put them to good use and made them into streamers, and as you can hear they make a lovely sound, and in the wind they also flap around as well. I hope you've enjoyed your tour of the sensory garden today, and I look forward to seeing you back on site when we can, so that you can enjoy the space for yourself with all the sights, smells and sounds. Thank you.
I'm here in Earthworks orchard with our wildflower meadow just behind me. It is no mow May at the moment in our orchard and meadow, so we don't mow the grass for the whole of May. It's very important to encourage biodiversity. It's an important source of both habitat and food for the animals. Here's our orchard behind me. We have many old and local varieties of apples, pears, cherries and plum, and they're all on dwarf stock, which means that they grow quite low to the ground, which makes it easier for harvesting. And here is Ajani and Jonathan to tell you more about our apple harvest.
Here we are in the orchard where we pick the apples from and take them towards the for the market.
So later on in the year, when these trees start to bear some apples, we pick these apples and then we crate them up and we send them to someone who nicely makes them into apple juice for us, and that is what we then take to the farmers market.
Angelina will tell you more about No Mow May.
Hello, I'm Angelina, and I'm going to talk to you about us doing No Mow May in our orchard this year. As you can see, we've let our grass grow really long, and I'm hoping we'll find an abundance of wildflowers. No Mow May is about letting the grass in our lawns grow tall. When we do this, the wildflowers that also grow in our lawns are able to flower. These flowers provide a valuable source of nectar to bees and many other insects. Today I'm going to show you how to do a citizen science activity called Every Flower Counts. We're going to find out how many bees we're feeding with the flowers that we've let grow in the grass here in the orchard. To work out how many bees we're feeding, I'm going to count how many flowers are growing in the grass we didn't mow. As I count, I'm also going to record the different types of flower that I find growing in the grass. Then I'm going to measure the area of the grass that we have here in the orchard. Once I've collected all the data, I'm going to enter it into the National Survey database, Every Flower Counts, at plantlife.org.uk, and that will tell me how many bees that we fed here in the Earthworks orchard. Okay, so let's find out how many bees we're feeding in the Earthworks orchard. It'd be very difficult to count all of the flowers growing in this orchard, so instead I'm just going to count the flowers in a small area. I'm going to count the number of flowers in a metre square, made out of bamboo cane like this one. And then, by counting a few of these metre squares, I can add them all together and get a rough estimate of how many flowers are growing in the orchard. I'm only going to count the flowers that are open. These are the flowers that the bees would visit for nectar. I'm going to start with this square. If you pause now and zoom in, you can help me count how many flowers there are. I've counted 13 daisies, 25 buttercups, 10 speedwell and 8 pink clovers. I've also calculated that the area of the grass we have here in this orchard is about 900 metres squared. I'm now going to take my metre square and I'm going to move it to other areas in the orchard and continue counting the flowers. I'm placing my metre square at random places across the orchard. My last square under an apple tree. Now that I've counted the flowers in 20 different places across the orchard, I'm going to enter the figures into the National Survey, Every Flower Counts, which is found on the website plantlife.org.uk.
It's so lovely here. I'm absolutely surrounded by butterflies and bees, but I'm going to take you down to our compost heaps now, which is also an important part of Earthworks, and I'll tell you some more about those. Here we are in the compost area of Earthworks. In 2019, a group of corporate volunteers from AXA XL paid for and built these large new compost bays. They're made of plastic wood, which is recycled plastic. And this area is working really hard to make enough compost for our needs on site. So we make sure we have the right amount of green and brown waste, the right items in the right bays, and then we sieve it when it's ready with rotary sieves, which you can see here. And we put it into ton bags and then we wheelbarrow it out all over site to wherever we need it. The earthworkers love working down here. There's lots of digging. And here is some of them to tell you a bit more.
So when the compost's well rotted down, we can put some into a barrow and take it onto the vegetable patch. That's good.
I'm here at one of the most popular places at Earthworks. This is the woodyard. It's important for physical activity as well as being creative. We have donations from tree surgeons of wood, and there's lots of chopping and sawing and axing done here. And we store the wood for eventual use on our fire in the warren.
What do you enjoy most about the woodyard? We saw woods off and cut. We saw every day, don't you, AJ? We saw every day. No. No, I can't. I don't.
Our woodland is really magical at the moment. It's full of this cloud-like cow parsley, which eventually we will cut down and dry and use in our bug houses. At the back of the woodyard, we have the area where we make our famous wood crafts. Our bug houses, Christmas trees, Santas and elves, and our famous reindeer, which are for sale on the St Albans Farmers Market at Christmas time. We have some gorgeous little bug houses here, and Gareth can tell you more about what we make at Earthworks.
This is a bug hotel. We make this at Earthworks. Huh? And a bug hotel. What is in the Beehive? Bug hotel. Little birds can get in the birdhouse, and little chicks can get in there as well. In the birdhouse. In a little house,
So these crafts can be bought at the farmers market, which is every second Sunday of the month, or at our events. And now I'm going to take you around the corner to see our bees. Here are our beehives that house our bees. Very sadly, we lost our equipment in a fire a few years ago, and our bees are now cared for by some local beekeepers who also keep their bees here and look after ours in return. Earthworks uses Dartington long, deep hives, which are perfectly suited to training beginners because of their ergonomic design. They're quite high up, which means that you don't have to bend double to look inside. The Earthworks site is ideal for beekeeping because we're so close to Highfield Park and their orchards, and the allotments on the other side of us, all of which provide very good bee forage, and of course our orchards, produce and wildflower meadow. Animal husbandry is an important horticultural skill to learn, and it involves taking care of animals all through the year. And our delicious honey will be available for sale later in the year. And just behind the beehives, this area of land enables us to grow additional crops. It was levelled by Christo from the Old Fighting Cocks in his mini digger, and it's a fantastic rhubarb there at the moment. And now I'm going to take you up to our polytunnel and our Earthworkers' individual plots. This is one of my favourite places at Earthworks. We have a strip of land where each Earthworker has 1 metre squared of their own to plan and grow and compost and water and harvest anything they like. So that could be ornamental plants and vegetables and fruits. And here is Michelle and Gordon and Simon to tell you more about their plots.
Always, what he does. No,
So Michelle, can you tell us a bit more about the plots?
Yeah, they were introduced a few years ago, and basically the idea is as soon as a new earthworker comes, they get given a plot and they can choose exactly what they want to grow on them. And it's been very interesting actually, guys, hasn't it? Because the creativity that's come out of it and the ideas people have had, some of the sign ideas and hobbies have come into it. And some people really did take great pride, don't you, in your plots as well, and tending them and weeding them, watering them. And we also bring them into the aims and goals for the earthworkers as well, especially when people arrive, sort of making a sign or some sort of sign for your plot, either wooden or a painted pot or something.
Yeah, we do that.
And tending your plot, it's quite a good thing for people to start with when they first come in.
I mean, in the morning.
And sometimes people ask to do specific things. Some people quite like some of the willow weaving and want to make proper plant supports and things like that. So we can incorporate that as well.
Great.
Thank you.
So this is Gordon's plot, and Gordon, tell us about your sign.
Well, the sign, we're doing a sign. I've got Monte Airlines there, and I've got runway at the post. I've got a plane here in the front.
So Monarch is your favourite airline?
It is.
Why is it all about aeroplanes and airlines?
Well, I like going plane spotting, my friend William.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it? So you've been able to put your personality on this, haven't you? Is this your plot, Simon?
It's my plot's in black. It's the best thing in the world. And the star hearts. There's the heart of them. Surprise. What's your name where you came from?
Oh, that was one of her things she used to say, wasn't it?
Yes.
And what things do you grow in here, Simon?
Carrots. And breezes.
And those California poppies?
Yeah.
And what colour are all these things?
Mixed orange.
And do you like orange?
Yes.
Why do you like orange?
Because I hair.
Oh, that's really nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone remarks on how pretty it always looks. Thank you, Simon.
And she is the most important, wonderful person.
Oh, thank you, Simon.
And beside the polytunnel we have our market garden where we grow vegetables and herbs to sell on the farmers market. Growing herbs beside vegetables is an important part of companion planting. So many herbs give off aromatic compounds which the pests don't like. We grow everything in an organic way.
Here now at the market garden.
So Jonathan, what's special about the market garden?
Well, this is the gardens that we put plants into to go to the farmers market.
Perfect. So here we've got some rhubarb that's ready to harvest, and Jonathan will demonstrate to you how we do this process. So what he'll do is he'll pull from the base, and then he'll turn the rhubarb stalk over, and then cut the top of the leaves off. And then that goes into the basket ready for the market. So here we are in the shop where we store some of the things that we send to the market that we don't grow, because we also make stuff here.
Yeah, we got here a Christmas tree, also with a bug hotel, and we make reindeers to hedgehogs to bottles of apple juice that we take from the market.
And that concludes our video tour of Earthworks. I do hope you've enjoyed it, especially those of you who are missing Earthworks at the moment. If you feel you can donate to Earthworks, you can donate £5 by texting Earthworks to 70085. Text costs £5 plus standard rate message. Stay tuned today because there'll be lots more coming up here on Facebook. Thank you and lots of love from Earthworks.